Hi again. It's been a while since I've uploaded on YouTube. A lot going on. But I just want to touch on mental health with Black Americans. Because obviously, as you can tell, I'm a Black American. And learning and knowing about ourselves has been a challenge, because I only can speak for myself. We kind of went with the schools was telling us, and about slavery, being on a ship in Africa and being shipped over to America, that narrative. So we kind of just like, oh, okay, that's our story. And then the main thing that kind of stuck out for me, I can't, only can speak for myself, is that something wasn't right, was the Bible. It was that little passage. I think a lot of people noticed, when it was good times. And Michael was the character on Good Times. And so when Michael was the character that's on Good Times, he was talking about controversial, like, hey, Jesus is described a certain way. That's not white, that's, so it was just this whole, so it made people question about the Bible and what was said in the Bible and how, and the image. So it's just the main thing of, I realize when it comes to mental health, is the images that we were, given. Of course, it started off as we were kids. We were kids in school, and they teaching us about the slave ship, and they had these images of all these black people on the ship, and they were in chains and on this, So we're like, okay, which was gruesome, and the horrible conditions they were in, and I'm like, so it made you like, whoa, that's negative. And then it goes into, another images is, Jesus. There's another one, another image of what Jesus looked like. It was this white man. He had this long flowing hair, straight, and had these blue eyes. You're like, don't look like you. And then they kept pushing that narrative of what beautiful was like. When I was younger, it was Barbie. Barbie was this thin white girl, and she was thin, she was tall, she, blue eyes, blonde, that same, this image they had to keep pushing. It was like push this negative of you as being black, and this positive image of being white. So it was just this whole controversy of that. So that's something that I really want to touch on, is and what it does to your mental health. It make you feel less than. Their whole purpose is to make you feel less than. They said, hey, we give them a bunch of images of the girl next door. Girl next door, normally, when I was growing up in the 80s, was this thin white girl. She had blue eyes and blonde hair, thin, that was the image, and even a lot of us, I can't say all of us, a lot of us in my community, we were relaxing our hair. We relax our hair. We would have our hair relaxers and just straighten it all up. And our curly, kinky hair was not it. It was the shiny, bouncy, straight hair. That was the image. That was something that was good, and your hair was bad. It was nappy. It was horrible. Oh my God! It was just this horrible thing. Here we go again with this narrative that does something to your mental, and that's what all of these things are about. Is what can we do, these others, is what can we do to dismantle their mental and make them feel powerless. So another thing is they come into the images of the movies, the television shows. When it comes down to like if you, how can I explain it? Oh, commercials. When it comes down to what the queen looked like, everybody had the queen or a princess, and when you see images as a little kid of what a queen and a princess look like, it doesn't look like you as being melanated. It's this white lady, white girl. She had to have blonde hair, blue eyes. That was the narrative they had to keep pushing. And so it was black men. That's the same thing when it comes down to these talk shows. As you grow up, you go into these talk shows. You had these different talk shows. It was always the man is not taking care of his kids. You're a baby mama. He's a baby daddy. He's not in the home. You a single mother. It was this whole thing constantly played. So when you actually go into the real world, here we go again. It's either a black man, he's behind bars. He doesn't want to take care of his kids. It was always crime, 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 shoot, 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 kill, kill, kill. That's what you as black Americans, that's where you lie. You lie into being lazy. You are on that level where, you know what I'm saying? So it's just this whole narrative I have noticed that's constantly being pushed, and how to get out of it. Are we out of it? Are we doing what we can to strengthen our mental health to get us out of that narrative they have tried to push on us for so long? Where we're at. And what are we doing to get out of that narrative? Because it's like, because of course at some point, some people are still asleep. Some people still are thinking that they're still in that narrative of, being a baby mama, being a baby daddy, and I've heard even guys they acting like marriage is a trip to prison. They think, me marriage, and the thing is, we have to look at ourselves and be like, hey, why are we so adamant against being together, being married, being in a relationship? Because I've noticed this whole narrative, all this mental breakdown within us because of the narrative that's been pushed for so long. A lot of us is still in that mental space where we like, oh no marriage, oh no relationship, oh no, where it's like, hey, let me get my own business going. Hey, when it comes down to all this narrative about loving your hair, loving your skin color, it's us strengthening those aspects to get away from the negative narrative that's been pushed on us for so long, and come into a more positive on loving ourselves and knowing our truth, and knowing that our hair is beautiful, our skin is beautiful. If we don't have to be, Caucasian, what I'm saying? We don't have to be a different race to be beautiful, because in reality, when another community, another race has to push this negative narrative on one particular race, is the opposite of that. Because when a certain different communities have to push this negative narrative on black Americans, it says a lot. It says like, hey, we have more power than we realize, and these other communities is trying to distract us and trying to push this narrative that we are not powerful. But when people have to put so much energy to take us away from who we truly are, you have to realize that